Congressman Bill Johnson. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Good to be with you, John. Thanks.
My pleasure. Let's talk about this decision by the White House regarding fentanyl. They are making its listing on as a Schedule I narcotic permanent, so I guess that might be a somewhat of a deterrent here. President Trump did that too. Isn't that a good thing? I mean, doesn't that also help the situation? I'm sure you're concerned about the other aspect of it, but it's not all bad, right? Rob Portman seems to like this. The senator said some good things about it.
Well, I think categorizing it as a level 1 drug is certainly an appropriate thing to do, but I don't think that alleviates the decriminalization effort that the administration is pushing for. Look, I live in one of the most drug addicted parts of the country. The opioid and drug crisis here has taken countless lives and has hurt our communities. And when you look at fentanyl, 19 grams of fentanyl that can kill 10,000 people, this is a very, very deadly drug. This absolutely does not pass the common sense test for me.
You know, it does seem to be kind of in line with some of the other stuff we hear from the Biden administration. You look at the headline, they're going to make fentanyl a Schedule I narcotic. President Trump did this. But then you look down a couple of paragraphs and you see the social justice kind of language get worked in this bill. And that's really, you know, what it is. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, I guess. It
is. It absolutely is. Because who is it that's paying the penalty for this? You know, it's the families of those that have become addicted, those that have overdosed and died from fentanyl. We've had law enforcement officials here in eastern and southeastern Ohio that have been exposed to fentanyl during the conduct of their work and busting up drug rings. It is a very deadly drug. We should not be relaxing the penalties for fentanyl. We should be stiffening the penalties for fentanyl, if anything.
Congressman, there's something else I want to ask you about, and we were just talking to Kash Patel about this. It's some breaking news. It's up on NEWSMAX.com right now, but NEWSMAX has learned that President Biden has signed an executive order ordering the FBI to release secret documents relating to possible Saudi involvement in the 9/11 terror attacks. I wanted to get your reaction to that.
Well, you know, we need to know everything we can know and everything that there is to know about the 9/11 attacks. But it's interesting to me, this is more political theater and optics from the Biden administration, because he just put the very terrorists that conducted the 9/11 attacks back in charge in Afghanistan and left thousands of Americans and those that helped us in that 20-year conflict behind enemy lines. And their lives are at risk. This to me is just another example of political theater. Should it be done? Yeah, we should know everything we need to know. But there's so much more that the president should be focused on. He's looking at fentanyl. He's looking at his $3.5 trillion spending deal, when he should be looking at how he's going to get the Americans that he left behind enemy lines out of Afghanistan.
Something else I want to talk to you about, too. We just got about a minute and a half left here. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is now going after Joe Manchin and his ties for the fossil fuel industry. She's looping a lot of stuff in here, but really she's mad because he basically torpedoed her dream of this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. Manchin is writing in the Wall Street Journal that he thinks Democrats should pause on this. I'm sure you agree with him. But here's what AOC tweeted, quote, Manchin has weekly huddles with Exxon as one of the many senators who gives lobbyists their pen to write so-called bipartisan fossil fuel bills. It's killing people, our people, at least 12 people last night talking about the aftermath of Ida here. But sounds like she's a little concerned about her wishes going down the tank here. I don't think it's going to happen for her, is it?
No, it's not going to happen. I certainly hope it does not happen, and I'm not surprised that she would put out something outlandish like this. After all, that $3.5 trillion package has got major elements of the Green New Deal, including the Clean Future Act that puts a moratorium on plastics manufacturing, for crying out loud. You can't make electric vehicles. You can't even make wind and solar energy products without plastics manufacturing. They're cutting off their nose to spite their face, and none of it makes any sense. I applaud what Senator Manchin is doing.